Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001, and as we approach the final couple weeks of business for Toys R Us, I come to you with another review video. The last toy line to come new to Toys R Us was The Incredibles. Came right after the Jurassic World toys came out. So this is probably going to be the last set of new toys Toys R Us will see before the axe falls. And this is the Junior Supers line. It is a style of figures that are very similar to Fisher-Price, Fisher-Price's Imaginext figures. They are Imaginext. Yeah, the Imaginext figures. Except that this is made by Jakks Pacific, not by Fisher-Price, which is, kind of interesting. This style of figure does seem to be getting pretty popular. It's just about everyone is doing it. I guess it's the compromise between a minifigure and an actually articulated action figure. The packaging just shows what they all look like. They kind of look like what the Disney Infinity figures would have looked like of them, especially Mr. Incredible, because I know he was in Disney Infinity. On the back, you see just 5 figures next to each other, along with some previews of various play sets that the figures can play with. So, is anyone else super hyped for Incredibles 2? I know that Incredibles is one of my favorite Pixar movies, and I've been waiting for this sequel for like a decade. I just hope that it didn't wait too long to come out. But let's get these guys out of the packaging and take a look. Okay, so here is the superhero family all taken out of the packaging right next to each other. They're pretty good little minifigures. For a little bit of context, I don't have any Fisher-Price Imaginext figures on hand, but I do have Tommy's Sonic figures. So let's just pull back a little bit. And as you can see, they're just a little bit shorter than... The tallest member, Mr. Incredible, is a tiny bit shorter than Knuckles, and the modern Sonic is pretty much on par with the Parr family. I didn't think I'd make that pun, but I did. So yes, the breakdown of articulation for most of them is pretty much the same. Let's just pull, say, Helen, good old Elastigirl, out first. And she has universally jointed shoulders, so they can go up and down and forward and backwards all around. Her head is a ball joint, so it has a little bit of tilt there, in addition to being able to swivel around. And her legs are one connected thing, so she can sit, which is useful for vehicle sets that these things will come with. But I really wish the legs could move separately like the Sonic figures could. That's really their only flaw. For this style of figure, that's the one thing I would ask, if they could make the legs move separately instead of as one piece. Aside from that, her sculpt is very nice. I mean, all the way around, she has the detailing she needs. I mean, the costumes aren't particularly complicated. On the front, you have the Incredibles logo, and a pretty decent representation of the character's face. And they got her curviness down. I can say that although these are in the same style as those Imaginext figures, the details are much better. Because, the Imaginext toys, they tend to not look very people-like for the most part. Yeah. I think the one that looks the most like a Fisher-Price figure is Mr. Incredible himself. I think it's really the big feet that sell that look. Yeah, like, if you told me that this was a Fisher-Price Imaginext figure, I would totally believe you because, it just looks like one. The only thing is that he also has a ball-jointed head, which is never used in the Fisher-Price toys, so that's how you know. And in addition to his universal shoulders, this is the only one that has extra articulation. He has wrists. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't think that any of these guys would have more articulation than that. He's the only one that has wrist joints. I think it's because his arms are so much fatter, they just felt that they would be able to put some pegs on there. Either that or it was just too inconvenient to have one giant piece go into the molder, so they made 2 pieces, and I figured, hey, if we're going to make it in 2 pieces, may as well give them wrist joints. At least that's what I think. The 3 kids are all pretty similar to each other. Violet is pretty much just a skinnier version of Helen Parr with long hair. So yeah, they even put little sculpt lines in her hair so that it has some relief. It's not just a big slab of plastic. That's pretty cool. There is a little bit of expressiveness. As you can see, it looks like one eyebrow is raised higher, although that could just be her hair coming down. And the articulation is the same as Elastigirl's, although she does have they did the thing with all of these characters where they have just a little bit of natural bend to their limbs. So it's not so much that they feel pre-posed, but it's just enough that they don't look a little bit too stiff and robotic standing around. Like just a slight bend, you know? That this is a good compromise. If you can't give them too much articulation, just give them a little bit of curvature to their arms so they're not standing at attention, and you get a lot more versatility out of that. I'm also pretty surprised that they actually went with the whole doing this sitting articulation thing with the legs, considering how skinny they are. But then again, I figured Jakks Pacific figured if Tomy could do it with the Sonic figures, then we could do it with this. Although I think the arms are a little bit too pre-posed for Dash. Like I feel like they, you know, like look at the way that shoulder goes. I think it's the rotation of the wrist. I'm getting vibes from Tomy's Modern Tales figure with this guy. His right arm is okay, but his left arm just feels a little bit off. Like it can come in front of him, and that actually does look good for a running pose, except for the fact that he can't run because his legs are one piece. Dash is the biggest argument for why these figures should have had two separate legs because, you know, he runs. He's a speedster. That's pretty much the only thing you'd want him to be posed in, and he can't do it. Jack is the only figure that can't properly stand, but, you know, he's a baby. He's not supposed to stand, and he's and he's very good at sitting. Like, all that. It's all that good. I think his head's a little bit too big. Maybe they could have made him a tiny bit smaller in scale. This actually, in terms of his size and proportions, he kind of makes me think of an articulated version of the Chow minifigures that came packaged with that Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails 3-pack. Yeah, he's pretty much little baby Chow in my head. Alright. So yeah, that's it. That's like I said, these are very simple figures. They're simple little figures for kids, but they also have a nice kitsch appeal for adults. So if you like minifigures, but you also like them to have a little bit of articulation, so you can have some variability in their posing, then this set is pretty good. Especially if you're a fan of The Incredibles, because The Incredibles is awesome, and their sequel is about a decade too late. I really wanted this sequel to come a lot sooner, and I'm really happy that it finally came out. I just hope that you know, the cultural zeitgeist hasn't left them behind. Yeah, and also I'm probably going to customize most of these figures. I already have plans for Helen Parr. Oh, I mean, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh, I can't not do that. Yeah, you'll see later. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up next because I have like 2 personal projects that I was going to do, but I might find a way to work her in sooner rather than later. This has been Wake Angel 2001, and I'm signing off.